After I dropped some things off at my fraternal twin brother's dorm, I came across a post from his campus jock roommate. WTF. My roommate is a total creep. He was wearing a dress in our room, trying to seduce me. What the hell is he trying to pull? Someone replied, "Damn, your roommate's that hot." The jock immediately blocked them. "You've got a disgusting way of talking." Other commenters, "You're acting kinda sus. Dude, you look like you were enjoying it." Unable to defend himself, the jock angrily deleted the post. 3 days later, I got a text from my brother. "Get a dress ready for me. My rich kid roommate offered me $3,000 to wear one for him." That night, I asked for an update. My brother, he said I was disgusting and told me to get out. Then he muttered something about the feeling being wrong. He's sick. A total psycho. My mom sent me over to my brother's dorm to drop off some stuff. He wasn't there, so he told me to just leave it on his bed. I stood in his dorm room, hesitating for a while before I finally figured out which bunk was his. Just as I put the stuff down, someone walked in. Whoa. Who the hell are you? I jumped and spun around. The guy was tall, at least 6 feet 1 inch, and wearing a basketball jersey and shorts that left little to the imagination. He was also incredibly handsome, with sharp brows and intense eyes. You don't see many guys like this at my school, UCLA, so I subconsciously stared for a few extra seconds. Especially at his pecs, they were seriously eye-catching. I was trying to figure out how to explain myself when he roared. "Where do you think you're looking? You pervert. Wearing that in our dorm, you got a death wish?" The guy was suddenly furious, his face and ears turning bright red. The next second, he spun around and stormed out. I stood there, frozen to the spot. I had no doubt he was going to get security to throw me, an unidentified intruder, out on my ass. I bolted, firing off a text to my brother as I left. "I told you I didn't want to go into your dorm, but you insisted. Your roommate is furious. You better apologize for me." My brother replied instantly, "Apologize for what?" After dropping off the stuff, I was waiting for the bus at the campus entrance. Bored, I started scrolling through the campus gossip forum when I stumbled upon a particular thread. WTF. My roommate is a total creep. He was wearing a dress in our room, trying to seduce me. What the hell is he trying to pull? Posted 10 minutes ago. Huh. That explosive title immediately attracted my attention. The OP said that after lunch, he came back to his dorm to find his roommate, a guy he never got along with, pacing back and forth in front of his bed, wearing a long dress and a wig. When he was discovered, the roommate even shot him a shy, furtive glance. My jaw dropped. This was juicy. The board commenters were thrilled. LMAO, you unlocked the secret edition roommate. Some people got vulgar. Whoa, your roommate's that hot? The OP, whose username was Romeo Beats Juliet, blocked him. You have a disgusting way of talking. The moment he posted that, the commenters went silent for a few seconds. Then they got even more excited. Bro, your roommate must look good in a dress, huh? The OP was getting agitated. Is that the point? The point is he's a creep. And he's probably got designs on me. A commenter, mystery solved. His roommate is beautiful in a dress. Mystery solved. His roommate in a dress is his ideal type. Stop solving mysteries, this bro is about to get triggered. Romeo Beats Juliet went quiet, resorting to just blocking people. He seemed genuinely distressed. He said he and his roommate were in the same major and saw each other all the time, which would make things really awkward. Everyone was just fanning the flames, so I was the only one who kindly offered a suggestion. If it bothers you that much, maybe you should just switch rooms. Romeo Beats Juliet, I don't know, what if it's his special thing? He might think I'm discriminating against him, right? Even though we don't get along, he's actually a pretty good guy. No major flaws. And what if I get a new roommate who's even worse? Plus, wouldn't moving be a huge hassle for everyone? I'd have to apply to the housing department, tell the RA, I really don't want to bother anyone. Dude, our lunch break is precious. We don't have time for your drama. If you don't want to move, just say so. If you want to move into your roommate's bed, just say so. Just admit it. You're captivated by your roommate in a dress. Sigh, how tragic. The world is about to have one more gay man. By the time I got on the bus, the OP had already deleted the thread. The commenters had clearly gotten to him. I couldn't stop laughing. The guy seemed pretty interesting, so I instinctively clicked on his profile. And then the smile froze on my face. Besides the post he had just deleted, his profile had two others. One was a photo from the recent field day at USC. The guy's face wasn't visible, just his back with a number 8 bib pinned to it. The other was a pot with a bizarrely shaped cactus that looked like a hand. The caption read, "If that jerk Chin messes with me again, I'm gonna use this to slap him across the face." Whap, whap, whap. Hilarious. But I couldn't laugh. Because I had just seen that number 8 bib and that weird-ass cactus. In my brother's dorm room. And my brother's last name is Chin. Putting that together with what just happened when I was dropping off his stuff, a little deduction led to the following conclusion. The hot-tempered guy I ran into in my brother's dorm was his roommate and rival, Dylan. And he had mistaken me for my brother. It was dramatic. But not impossible. After all, my brother, Leo, and I are fraternal twins. We look about 80% alike. He's fair and delicate looking, while I have a sharper, more boyish look. He's 5 feet 9 inches, and I'm 5 feet 8 inches. My mom always said that if my brother put on a wig, people would think we were twin sisters. I held my phone, silent for a long time. I thought about the post he had just deleted. I decided I should probably remind my brother to watch his back when he goes to sleep tonight. My brother told me I was crazy. I was so mad I ignored him for 3 days. 3 days later, he sent me $100 and tried to make peace. I wanted to keep ignoring him, but that was a lot of money. $100. For a poor college student like me, that was a fortune. Once the surprise wore off, I calmed down. My hands trembled as I typed, "Bro, you doing okay back there?" My brother, "Whoa, how'd you know my hemorrhoids are acting up?" "Didn't know you cared so much, sis." Though my brother looked delicate and refined, he was a total straight guy. He probably didn't get my subtle hints. I gritted my teeth, about to spell it out for him, when he called me. His voice sounded incredibly cheerful. "Your big bro came into a little money today," he said. "My rich kid roommate must have lost his mind. He offered me $3,000 to wear a dress for him." My brother's tone was filled with world-weary gravity. It turns out money really can make a man bend. The moment I heard $3,000, the warning I was about to give him got swallowed right back down. They're both guys. What could possibly happen? It's just wearing a dress. It's not like my brother has never done it before. Back when our mom was unemployed and depressed, he once put on a dress and did a ballet routine for her. My brother, "Lend me an outfit. I'll give it back. Make it something loose, or I won't fit." I nodded. "Rental fee is $50. My brother, "You little shark." Our universities were right next to each other, so I brought him the clothes that afternoon. That evening, I asked him how it went. My brother replied, "Wore it." He saw it. Me, and? My brother, "That jerk Chin said I was disgusting and told me to get out." He also muttered something about the feeling being wrong. Ha ha ha, he's sick. A total psycho. I hesitated for a few seconds. "You seem pretty happy about it." My brother, he said I was so disgusting he wanted to puke, then gave me another $1,000 and told me to get a hotel room for the night. I shot up from my deathbed. "How much?" My brother, "A 5-star hotel. Amazing city view, and it's a suite. You coming?" Me, "Send me the location." Half an hour later, I was sitting by a massive floor-to-ceiling window, sipping complimentary red wine, simultaneously enjoying myself and seething with envy for the rich. My brother was taking a bath. Suddenly, he let out a yelp and came rushing out wrapped in a bathrobe. Crap. I turned to him in terror. He hasn't sent you the money yet? My brother, no, not that. I breathed a sigh of relief. My brother held his phone up to my face. I wasn't paying attention when I left and grabbed Dylan's bag by mistake. He's telling me to bring it down to him right now. I glanced at their chat history. Then immediately looked away. The two of them had a habit of greeting each other's family members in their texts. It was filthy. My brother, he's waiting downstairs. He pointed to the suds in his hair and his bathrobe. How am I supposed to deliver it like this? With that, he stared straight at me. I refused. I'm not doing it. $100. Hand me the bag. I thought my brother's roommate was weird, and I didn't want anything to do with him. So I had my brother text him that I'd leave the bag at the front desk for him to pick up himself. After watching my brother send the text, I took the bag and went downstairs. I explained the situation to the young woman at the front desk. After I handed her the bag to hold, I was about to turn toward the elevators when I heard a rush of footsteps behind me. Before I could even turn around, someone smacked me on the back of the head. I knew you were hiding from me. Leo, you damn creep, you're secretly wearing a dress again. I winced, clutching my head as a wave of fury washed over me. But the person hadn't noticed. Hey, this wig is pretty good quality. He casually ran his fingers through my hair. I'm already losing enough hair as it is. I hate it when people pull my hair. I angrily slapped his hand away. Then I spun around, looked up, and glared daggers at him. Dylan's hand, which I had just slapped away, froze in midair. He stared at me, his eyes locking with mine for several seconds without blinking. Then he said something totally bizarre, damn. The feeling is right. I was seeing red, my voice squeezed through my teeth. Apologize to me. The guy was still off in another world. He looked at me, bewildered, and mumbled, how did the feeling suddenly get right? Weird, what's different from this afternoon? Dylan's face turned a very strange shade of red, then, even redder. He was secretly, no, brazenly checking me out. Finally, his gaze landed on my chest. His eyes widened in shock. Huh? Could it be? I couldn't take it anymore. I was about to hit him. But before I could make a move, a figure came flying in with a kick from the side. Where do you think you're looking, you damn pervert? Eat my foot. Oh, it was my brother. In a bathrobe, almost flashing everyone. My brother's kick triggered their arch-nemesis combat mode, and the two of them started wrestling on the floor. I stood to the side, yelling in a high-pitched voice, stop fighting. Oh my God, you guys, please stop. Then I took the opportunity to sneak in a kick at Dylan. That's for pulling my hair. 5 minutes later, Dylan unilaterally called a timeout. He looked at me, then at my brother. Then at my brother, then back at me. Who are you? My brother stood in front of me, blocking his view. This is Chloe, my sister. My actual sister. You'd better apologize to her right now. I froze for a second. Looking at my brother's not-so-broad back, I felt a sudden flicker of emotion. Even though we've been fighting and bickering for years, our bond is still. And then give us $2,000 for emotional damages. That damn Leo is obsessed with money. I shoved him aside and stepped in front of the completely stunned Dylan. You don't have to give us any money, but you do need to apologize. I said, you just hit me on the back of the head and pulled my hair. I muttered under my breath, it really hurt. I'm so sorry. Dylan abruptly bowed a full 90 degrees. I was startled by his reaction. Looking down, I could see his short, neat haircut couldn't hide his beet red ears and neck. He straightened up but avoided my gaze, not daring to look at me. I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to. I believed him. He looked like a cooked lobster right now. Mortified. I thought about the $3,000 he gave Leo and the 5-star hotel room tonight, took a deep breath, and offered a gentle smile. I forgive you. After Dylan left, Leo and I spent another blissful night in the luxurious hotel. The next day when we left, we didn't forget to take all the complimentary toiletries with us. That stuff isn't cheap. We could use it when we have guests over. That's just how we are, my brother and I. Thrifty and practical. The next day, I got a friend request from a stranger. I looked at the note and was instantly wide awake. Hi Chloe, this is Dylan. I took a screenshot and immediately went after my brother. You dared to give him my contact info? My brother, what kind of person do you take me for? Me, you have 3 seconds to tell me the truth. My brother, this morning while I was airing out my blanket on the balcony, I knocked Dylan's limited edition Jordans off, and some jerk upperclassman's dog snatched them. They're gone. I can't afford to replace them, your brother is useless. I was speechless. Truly speechless. You really are pretty useless. My brother, I think Dylan might have a thing for you. Come on, sis, just add him. You can just mess with him a little when you're bored, like playing with the neighbor's puppy. It's no big deal. For the sake of my own sanity, I temporarily blocked him. This guy was a menace. Returning to the friend request screen, I stared at my phone for a few seconds before finally tapping accept. At first, Dylan's texts were fairly normal. He'd say good morning and good night, occasionally ask about my hobbies, and share pictures of cats and dogs or blue skies and white clouds he'd taken. A little boring, but normal. A few days later, he started getting weird. LOL, caught this little stray peeing today. It was kinda yellow. Hahaha, there are still dung beetles out this time of year. Look at the little ball of poop it's pushing. I think the cold dish at the dining hall today was a little off. Tasted like something died in my mouth. I silently put down my chopsticks. Damn it, I had to sprint 100 meters after class just to get these sweet and sour ribs. Now my appetite was completely gone. I expressionlessly picked up my phone and sent Dylan a message. Are you sick? Dylan didn't reply. But when I got back to my dorm after eating and was scrolling on my phone, the campus gossip forum automatically pushed a new post from Romeo Beats Juliet. I paused for a second, then, as if possessed, I clicked on it. Romeo Beats Juliet, help. How do you even talk to a girl? When I clicked in, I saw the post was from 3 days ago. It had just been updated. This time, the commenters weren't just messing around, they were offering all sorts of advice. The top voted comment was, if you're a good-looking dude, just be direct. Romeo Beats Juliet, how do I be direct? Talk about dirty stuff. Crude stuff. The kind of stuff that normally grosses you out. Romeo Beats Juliet, huh? Will that actually work? A commenter, guaranteed. I had to laugh. 2 minutes ago, Dylan had updated the post. He attached a screenshot of our chat, even taking the time to blur out my name. What do I do? She asked if I was sick. The replies below were surprisingly uniform. One fool teaches, another fool follows. Honestly, I wasn't even mad anymore. I was just curious. So I unblocked my brother and posed a question. Did Dylan have a high fever as a kid that fried his brain? My brother looked at the chat history I sent him. He laughed for a solid 10 minutes before he bothered to reply. Maybe, but he's also been single his entire 23 years. He probably genuinely has no idea how to talk to girls. I hadn't expected that. He seemed like. My brother continued, he looks like a delinquent, but he's actually super innocent. A few classmates came over to our dorm to play cards once, and halfway through, they started talking about adult stuff. Dylan's face turned bright red. He didn't say anything at the time, but after they left, he warned me not to let them in our room again. He said they weren't decent people, ha 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 ha, it killed me. Oh, and another thing, during freshman year, a girl from the neighboring college was pursuing him. She was really bold and forward, and it scared him so bad he started avoiding her on sight. He even got so anxious he couldn't sleep and had to get sleeping pills from the campus clinic. My brother chattered on. He was particularly enthusiastic when it came to recounting Dylan's embarrassing stories. I listened for a bit, then tuned him out. Because I pretty much understood now. Dylan wasn't trying to gross me out on purpose. He was just missing a few screws. Dylan, the guy with a few screws loose, must have been enlightened by some other guru, because not only did he apologize to me, but his conversation skills improved by leaps and bounds. At the very least, he stopped making me feel offended. Since our schools were close, Dylan would occasionally come to my campus to see me. I had refused his expensive gifts, so after that, he started bringing small, thoughtful but inexpensive presents every time he visited. Sometimes it was a small bouquet of flowers, sometimes a little cake, and sometimes a viral snack from a trendy food spot. He said he saw a long line and figured it must be delicious. It was actually just okay, probably overhyped from marketing. But when I looked up and met his expectant gaze, I couldn't bring myself to say what I was thinking and just gave a vague nod. The next time Dylan came to see me, he was unusually late, leaving me waiting at our designated spot for 20 minutes. He wasn't responding to my texts either. I was about to head back to my dorm when I overheard some passing students excitedly discussing some fresh drama at the East Gate. That cat abuser. Some guy caught him. Caught him red-handed. The guy saw what he did to the kitten and got so mad his eyes were all red. He pinned the creep to the ground and beat him up. Now it's a whole scene, there's a huge crowd. I stopped in my tracks. I turned and started walking toward the East Gate. I walked faster and faster, until I broke into a run. When I got to the East Gate, I saw Dylan in the crowd right away. He was just too conspicuous. "You're coming with me to the police station." His booming voice was also unmistakable. "You sicko. I'm gonna beat the crap out of you today." The guy he was holding was short and thin, with black-rimmed glasses. He kept repeating one thing: "I didn't kill this cat. It was already dead when I found it. I was just trying to bury it." "That's bullshit, I saw you with my own eyes." "Is there a security camera?" The guy seemed confident there wasn't one. "You can't just say that without evidence. I'll sue you for slander." "And who are you, anyway?" The guy squinted. "I don't think I've ever seen you at UCLA. Compared to me, you, an outsider, are way more suspicious." Before he could finish, I pushed my way through the crowd, grabbed Dylan's arm, and stood beside him. "He's my boyfriend." Dylan froze, and everyone's eyes turned to us. I turned to Dylan and asked, "Where did you see him hurting the cat?" Dylan raised his hand and pointed to a small grove of trees not far away. "Last week, some guys smoking in there almost started a fire. Dean Miller just had a security camera installed on the academic building across the way, pointed right at this spot." As I spoke, I pulled out my phone and found a number. I dialed it. "Hello? Dean Miller, it's Chloe Cheen from the math department. We had dinner together during the competition last year. I wanted to confirm something with you." While I was on the phone, the area fell silent. Everyone was watching me quietly. It was a strangely unified moment. 2 minutes later, I put my phone down. The camera's on and recording. It should have captured who hurt the cat. "Let's go, let's check the footage." Before I could finish, the guy suddenly broke free from Dylan's grip and bolted toward the edge of the crowd. He almost made it out. But he had bad luck and ran straight into a security guard who was just arriving. The guy was restrained. The onlookers, now knowing who the cat abuser was, erupted in an uproar and swarmed him. Most of the cats on campus were cared for by the students collectively. They were friendly and well-loved. There was no way they were going to let this guy off easy. Dylan was about to take advantage of the chaos to land another kick, but I dragged him away. He was a student from another school. It was better to keep a low profile right now. Dylan apologized for not replying to my texts. I shook my head. You don't have to apologize. You were being a hero for that kitten. That's a good thing. Dylan froze. When he didn't say anything, I looked up and met his eyes. He quickly looked away, flustered. What's wrong? He scratched his head, embarrassed. You're the second person to call me a hero. I was curious. Who was the first? A gentle expression appeared on Dylan's face. My grandma. I looked at him, and a strange feeling surfaced in my heart. This goofy guy was actually pretty cute right now. I gently stirred the drink in front of me. He didn't speak again. After a moment of silence, I was the one to break it. You should stop coming to see me. Dylan was taken aback. Huh? I sighed, preparing to be direct. Thank you for liking me, but I think we're better off as friends. After Dylan left, I told my brother what had happened. He sighed dramatically. Looks like I'll have to pay for those sneakers after all. Why didn't you string him along for a little while? My voice was uncharacteristically serious. I don't want to treat him like a puppy I can just play with anymore. I feel like he's really sincere. Leo, let's try to be decent human beings. I saw a post Dylan made on the forum. I failed. But I still like her so much. It made me feel a little sad. But there was nothing I could do. He really wasn't my type. I like gentle, refined, bad boys in suits, reserved and subtle guys. And Dylan was the complete opposite of all those things. After clearing the air with Dylan, my life gradually returned to its old rhythm. My days were a triangle between my dorm, the dining hall, and my classes. Occasionally, I'd go to USC to have a meal with my brother and work on our already precarious sibling relationship. Okay, actually, the food at our school sucks, and I go to his school to get a decent meal. This afternoon, before my class was even over, I got a text from my brother. They have king crab legs at the dining hall tonight. Get over here. My eyes widened, and I typed back furiously, wait for me. The second class ended, I grabbed my backpack and sprinted to the bus stop. It was the time of day when elementary school kids were getting out, so traffic was slow. When we were still 2 stops away from USC, I glanced out the window and couldn't help but frown. An elderly woman with mobility issues was trying to run toward the bus stop, probably afraid she'd miss the bus. As she ran, her body swayed, a heartbreaking sight. Just then, a few elementary school kids saw her. They covered their mouths, stifling laughter, and tiptoed behind her, mimicking her running posture for a few steps. They were like malicious little clowns, desperate for attention. I zoomed in with my phone's camera and saw the names on their backpacks. I slid open the bus window, pointed at them, and yelled, Will, Chris, and Matt from MS. Davis's 3rd grade class, right? How about I take this photo to your teacher and have her arrange a little comedy sketch for the 3 of you at the winter festival? The 3 kids froze. Literally dumbstruck. I held up my phone so they could clearly see the picture I had taken. They all pulled long faces, looking like they were about to cry. I rolled my eyes. I called out to the front of the bus, Driver, could you please wait a few extra seconds at the next stop? There's an elderly woman trying to get on. The old woman got on the bus successfully. She slowly made her way over and sat down next to me. She was breathing heavily and thanked me. Thank you so much, young lady. I felt a little embarrassed. You're welcome. My gaze swept over her and then stopped. What were all these dazzling logos? The bag the old woman was carrying was a Chanel. The flats on her feet were Hermes. The vest she was wearing was Arc'teryx. I slowly looked up, and the old woman gave me a kind smile. What is it? I gave a sheepish laugh. Grandma, you're getting on in years. Why are you out by yourself? The old woman said, Oh, my son wanted the driver to take me, but I didn't want to. That old gas guzzler gives me a headache. Oh, a Rolls Royce. She was definitely the matriarch of some wealthy family. The old woman continued, I'm going to my grandson's school to see him. Driving is inconvenient, it attracts too much attention. Maybe because I had just helped her, the old woman was very warm toward me. She shared some snacks from her bag with me. She even started telling me about her grandson. We didn't have much money before. His parents went off to make a living, so he stayed with me back in our hometown. The education there was poor, but he's very smart. He always got first place in his class. The old woman's face was full of pride, but as she spoke, her expression grew somber. Back then, the people in the village saw it was just an old woman and a little boy, so they thought we were easy targets. They'd steal a chicken from time to time or quietly encroach on our land. I was afraid of trouble, so I never said anything. But my grandson was tough. He was just a little thing, not even as tall as their fences, but he'd go and smash their windows. He learned to curse like them, to make threats like them. He grew thorns all over. The villagers all disliked him back then, said he was rude, a little delinquent. The bus moved slowly forward, and the old woman spoke in a calm, unhurried manner. I gradually became engrossed in her story. She sighed. But I knew that boy was just trying to make himself seem tougher so we would be bullied less. I was touched. He sounds like a good kid. He is. Later, our family's situation improved, and we moved to the city. Everything got better. He worked hard and got into USC. I haven't seen him in a long time, so I made a special trip to see him. USC? The kid really did work hard. As we were talking, the bus quickly arrived at the stop. I stood up and helped the old woman. This is our stop, Grandma. The USC entrance is right up ahead. The old woman thanked me and got off the bus eagerly. I bent down to pick up my earbud that had fallen under the seat, getting off a few seconds behind her. Just as I stepped off the bus, I heard a very familiar voice. Grandma. I fucking missed you so much. I froze and looked up. Dylan, wearing a black jacket, had his arm affectionately around the old woman's shoulder. He bent down and nuzzled his head against her cheek. He really was like a big dog. So he was the grandson the old woman was talking about. So, that's how his personality was formed. I watched them, a little stunned. The old woman raised her hand and smacked him. Don't curse, don't curse. I know. Dylan's voice was filled with joy. He bent down, squatting in front of the old woman. Come on, let me give you a piggyback ride around campus. The old woman didn't want to. I can still walk. But I really want to carry you. The old woman was amused by him and patted him again. Dylan laughed and turned his head, and his eyes met mine unexpectedly. He froze. The old woman looked over too and quickly said, Oh, right. Dylan, this young lady has a kind heart. She helped me just now. She dramatically recounted what had happened to Dylan. Dylan looked at me and said seriously, Thank you, Chloe. Don't mention it. I waved my hand. You should show your grandma around campus. I have to go meet my brother. We can talk another time. With that, I said goodbye to his grandma, turned, and ran into the crowd, sprinting toward the second dining hall. My king crab legs. Please, please wait for me. I didn't get any. I hate everything. But Dylan somehow found out about it and specifically invited me to dinner to make up for it. He said his grandma insisted, and he'd be in trouble if I didn't go. Looking at the menu he sent me, I reluctantly agreed. Sitting at the table, Dylan first apologized to me. He said he was sorry for causing me trouble with his one-sided feelings. He was so sincere that I couldn't help but ask the question I'd been curious about for a long time. What is it that you even like about me? I couldn't figure it out. We hadn't spent that much time together. Dylan thought for a long time before saying, I guess you could call it a physical attraction. The first time I saw you, my heart started racing, and my whole body just felt off. I know that answer might make me sound shallow, but it's the truth. Later, after getting to know you for a while, I realized you're really great. You have good character, you're smart, you're popular, you're good at everything, and that just made me like you more. He had definitely never said anything like this to another girl. He looked completely out of his element, like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. I looked at him, and a string in my heart quivered. It wasn't that I'd never been confessed to. Plenty of guys had pursued me. Some of them were smooth talkers, but none of their pretty words had ever been as moving as the almost raw, clumsy confession from the guy in front of me. I was stunned and couldn't react. Dylan didn't know what to say either. He fidgeted with the table, adjusted the silverware, and finally shot up from his seat. He walked stiffly toward the kitchen. "I'll go check on the food." After dinner, Dylan waited with me at the curb for my ride. He stood by the road, the evening breeze gently rustling his clothes. He suddenly turned to look at me, his eyes clear and direct. "Chloe," he began, his voice a little lower than usual, "no matter what, I'm really glad I got to know you. From now on." He paused, as if making a resolution. "If you're willing, I'll think of you as a very important friend." "Really? I won't make you feel uncomfortable anymore, I promise." He didn't look away when he said this. His gaze was open and honest. I nodded, but this time, I was the first one to break eye contact. I looked down at my feet and nodded again. Just then, my rideshare arrived, its headlights illuminating us. "Your car's here. You should get in. Be safe." He opened the car door for me. As the car slowly pulled away, I looked back through the window. Dylan was still standing there, his tall figure stretched long by the dim yellow streetlight. When he saw me looking, he immediately waved enthusiastically, a huge grin spreading across his face, revealing a set of white teeth. In that moment, my heart unexpectedly skipped a beat. Thump. It was so loud it felt like I could hear the echo. I whipped my head forward and sat bolt upright. Something's wrong. Something's very wrong with me. After that night, Dylan and I seemed to truly retreat back to the friend zone. He no longer sent his daily good morning and good night texts. His chats became more measured, and sometimes, he was even a little too polite. I should have been relieved. But instead, I found my attention uncontrollably drifting toward him. That afternoon, my brother proudly sent me a photo. It was a group picture of their department's basketball team after winning the championship. He had circled himself in red with the caption, "Behold your brother's heroic, game-carrying performance." I zoomed in on the picture, but my eyes automatically skipped over my brother's smug face and landed on Dylan, standing in the back row. He was wearing a red jersey with a sweatband on his forehead, his face lit up with a post-game grin, and his arm draped over a teammate's shoulder. He looked sunny and fresh. I noticed something and asked my brother, "How did Dylan get hurt?" My brother took a long time to reply. "Sorry, just had to use a magnifying glass to find the tiny band-aid on Dylan's forehead." My brother, "Are you nuts? I told you to look at me, why are you looking at him? That thing on his head is from picking at a pimple. Is that really worth your attention? Chloe. Get a grip. You're not allowed to pay attention to him. You're making me sick." So loud. How could text be so loud? I stopped replying and closed the chat. After a few minutes of scrolling on my phone, I habitually opened the campus gossip forum and went to Romeo Beats Juliet's profile. He hadn't been posting as frequently lately, but every post was interesting. Sometimes he'd share ugly photos of the stray cat he was feeding on campus. "Lil Orange says my photography skills suck." He cussed me out real good. Attaches photo of a cat with a disgusted look.jpg. The day before yesterday, he showed off a sweater his grandma had knitted for him, its colors so bright it looked like a paint palette had been overturned, with the caption, "Grandma says retro is in this year." I feel like I'm on the cutting edge of fashion. Forced smile. Last night, he posted another one, who was so damn petty. They pulled out all the spines on my cactus and stuck them in my underwear. Half an hour later, he added a comment, "You, Cheen. You better sleep with one eye open tonight." I read through them and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Chloe, what are you looking at that's so funny? My roommate peeked her head over the edge of her bunk, looking at me curiously. Your smile is stretching from ear to ear. Something's up, are you in love? I snapped back to reality, the smile on my face instantly freezing. In love? Me? My fingertip hovered over the phone screen as I sat there, stunned, for several seconds. I went to USC to see my brother again. He watched me glancing around and couldn't help but sneer. Who are you looking for? Dylan? I paused, then smiled. Is that any of your business? My brother, fine, none of my business. I was going to tell you something happened to him recently, but never mind. Not worth it. Something happened? I grabbed my brother's arm. What happened? Leaving the USC campus, I stood on the side of the road, feeling a bit lost. What my brother had just said kept replaying in my mind. It wasn't him, it was his grandma. She's not very mobile and missed a step on the stairs. She fell, at her age, you know. Dylan's been taking a few days off. I heard he's really close with his grandma. When he first heard the news, he just wasn't himself. My brother had taken Dylan's ID to him, so he knew which hospital he was at. He mentioned it, almost offhandedly. Then he said, if you go, can you pass on a message for me? Me, what message? My brother gave me a knowing look. You're actually going? Sigh, a sister's heart is a fickle thing. I smacked him on the head. You psycho. On the bus to the hospital, my heart was pounding. I was panicking. I had only met Dylan's grandma once, and we only exchanged a few words. But I could feel how deep their bond was. If something serious had happened, it would be a huge blow to Dylan. I scrolled through my phone distractedly. I clicked into the forum again. Dylan hadn't posted anything new in days. When I finally rushed to the hospital, I stood in the lobby, hesitating. Just as I was trying to figure out how to text Dylan, I saw him coming out of the hospital convenience store. He looked exhausted, with faint dark circles under his eyes. Stubble was starting to show, and he looked generally disheveled. When he saw me, Dylan froze. Chloe. I didn't know how to comfort him. I just followed my instincts and walked quickly toward him. I gave him a gentle hug. Dylan stiffened. Your grandma will be okay. She'll definitely be okay, I said. She loves you so much. She wouldn't want to leave you. Dylan, thanks. He raised a hand, and his warm palm patted my back. As much as I'd like you to keep hugging me like this, I have to tell you the truth. I paused and looked up at him. A faint smile touched Dylan's lips. My grandma's fine now. He said, when she fell down the stairs, my dad saw it happen and cushioned her fall like a human mattress. She was shaken up and has a minor fracture in one leg, but other than that, she's all good. I let out a long sigh of relief. That's great. As long as she's okay. Hey, excuse me, little lovebirds, need to mop here, a cleaning lady said casually as she passed by with her mop, leaving an awkward silence in her wake. Dylan and I looked at each other, then instantly sprang apart. When I went to visit Dylan's grandma, she was thrilled. It's you. We chatted for a while before the old woman started getting drowsy. She drifted off mid-sentence. Dylan gently lowered her bed and carefully tucked her in. I smiled and looked away. I tiptoed out of the room. Once outside, I called my brother. The moment he answered, my anger flared. Are you serious? His grandma is fine, and you made it sound like it was life or death? My brother's voice was infuriatingly smug. If I hadn't said that, would you have ever worked up the courage to go find Dylan? I blinked. I saw it a long time ago. You've fallen for Dylan. Ha 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 ha. Still trying to play it cool with me? We came out of the same womb. I know what you're thinking before you even think it. You've never been in a relationship either. You're so timid and indecisive. It was driving me crazy, so I decided to give you a little push. I took several deep breaths, gritting my teeth. Well, I can't thank you enough. I was gripping my phone so tightly that my finger accidentally hit the speaker button. The next second, my brother's voice echoed down the hallway. You're welcome. My little sister finally has a guy she likes, of course I have to help out. Dylan's only a little less awesome than your brother. There's no shame in liking him. I was mortified. Everyone around us turned to look. My face burning, I hung up the phone and turned in a circle, apologizing sheepishly to the people I had disturbed. Sorry, so sorry. When I turned back around, Dylan was standing right behind me. I blinked, my toes curling inside my shoes. At the same time, I secretly resolved to disown Leo. The hospital corridor wasn't very wide. We stood 2 meters apart, staring at each other in silence. Honestly, it was a bit awkward. So I decided to say something, anything to get out of there. But before I could speak, Dylan strode toward me. He stopped right in front of me, leaned down, and kissed me on the cheek. It was completely unexpected. His lips were cool. It was just a light touch, over in an instant. My whole body went rigid. A wave of heat rushed to my head. I felt like I was about to explode. Dylan took my hand and pulled me straight toward the elevator. In the short minute it took for the elevator to go down, I had managed to compose myself. My lifelong competitive streak made me want to win, even in a situation like this. So I feigned composure, putting on a brave face. What was that just now? It means I like you. You like me, so you kiss me? I raised an eyebrow at him. Without my consent, that's sexual harassment. Dylan laughed. He took a step back and opened his arms slightly. Then you can get your revenge. Chloe, you like me. His voice was full of amusement. You can sexually harass me back, without my consent. My face flushed. Isn't there a more civilized way to get revenge? There is, he said. Will you be my girlfriend? That way, you can harass me civilly. Oh, I like the sound of that offer. I looked up at him. A few seconds later, I stood on my tiptoes and kissed him on the cheek. I will. A long time later, my brother asked me. I remember your ideal type was never Dylan's type. What made you suddenly fall for him? I thought about it for a long time. And gave him my answer, the feeling was right. When it comes to love, who can ever say for sure? End of main story. Epilogue. After Dylan and I started dating, we rarely fought. The one time we disagreed was when I impulsively cut my hair short. One day, I was standing with my brother, and Dylan, in a moment of confusion, hugged my brother from behind. He even habitually planted a kiss on his cheek. When they realized what happened, one went to wash his face, the other to brush his teeth. I stood by, laughing so hard I could barely stand. Afterward, Dylan buried his head in my shoulder. Babe, can we grow your hair out a little? Please. Please. I didn't want to. This is a new look for me. You should support me. Dylan's face fell. If it weren't for your brother, I would definitely support you. I said casually, then just shave his head, problem solved. Dylan paused, a look of sudden realization on his face. Babe, you're right. He got up without hesitation, grabbed a pair of clippers, and walked into my brother's room. What the hell? Dylan, are you crazy? Why the fuck are you trying to shave my head? Get out. Get out. I'll give you $2,000 to just let me shave it. Get out. $3,000. Get out. $4,000. Get. $5,000. Hand me the clippers. I'll do it myself.